admonishments to his disciples. They are very clear and able to include the whole practice of Buddhism. Sabapapasa akaranam, to avoid all evil. Kusalasa upasambara, cultivate wholesome. And Sachita priyotapana, to purify one's own mind or one's own heart. In this teaching, the first factor of avoiding all evil shows the beginning parts of the moral aspect, to live without regret and worry in the life. Doing evil deeds can harm to oneself and others, including society and even to the world. For individual consequence, the Buddha stated that the evildoer grieves and laments in the present life, perceiving the impurity of one's own deeds. As the evil karma can cause the rebirth in the awful state, having gone to a awful state, he will grieve and lament more hereafter. The second factor of cultivating wholesome completes the moral practice and starts the practice of concentration and wisdom. In this case, there are two moral aspects: the rules to be avoided, Parita Sila, and the text to be performed, Charita Sila. The first type of Varita Sila is completed by avoiding all evil, and the second type, Charita Sila, is accomplished when the wholesome deeds are cultivated. Cultivating good deeds can make the world to be beautiful, safe, and worthy. For individual consequence, the Buddha said, the doer of good or merit rejoice and happy in the present life, perceiving the purity of his own deeds. As the good karma can cause the rebirth in the blissful state, having gone to a blissful state hereafter, he even more rejoice and be happy there. The last factor of purifying one's own heart accomplish the practice of wisdom, which understands
Pandami Bante, and good evening, everyone. Good morning for everyone in the Western Hemisphere. Welcome to Lesson 54, the Method of Dependent Arising, Paticcasamupadda Part 1. Today's session is scheduled to last for 1.5 hours, with 50 minutes on coursework and remaining 40 minutes on Q&A. I'm Tiong Han. I'm the meeting co-host who will be helping Bante and everyone in today's session. A gentle reminder, when posting questions to the chat, please direct your questions to everyone. Hey Bante, we are now ready for your teachings. May we invite Bante to start the teaching, please. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Good evening, Brother Johan, and let's start our today's Abhidhamma study. reciting Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Today, lesson 54, and we will study specifically about the Paticcasamupadda. As in the chapter 8, Paccaya Sangaha. Two methods of dependent origination and Patthana, which is called Patthana, conditional relationship I mentioned here. Today, as a part 1, we will study about the Paticcasamupadda, the method of dependent arising. Both methods of dependent arising, Paticcasamupadda, and conditional relationship mention about the relationship between condition and conditional realities. So Sankhata Dhamma and their condition. In the Paticcasamupadda, the method of dependent origination or dependent arising, it trying to emphasize only two aspects of conditional Dhamma, Paccayupanna Dhamma, and conditioning Dhamma, Paccaya Dhamma. So here is mentioned the 12 factors, and we will study according to the link, one after another. Here, the first link is dependent on ignorance, the karmic formation, sankhara arises. So in Pali, it is called the avijja paccaya sankhara. To understand how the ignorance gives rise to the karmic formation, and how avijja can be paccaya for sankhara, we have to understand the meaning and the reference entities of each part. So first, avijja. Avijja translated as ignorance. And it refers to the mental factors of delusion, which is called moha. Because if we study the mental factors, the second chapter, we could not find the mental factors of ignorance. We just find the mental factors of delusion, which is called moha cittasika. That's why when we see the word avijja, we have to identify by the reality of delusion mental factors, moha cittasika. So here, why it is called avijja? Avijja is the opposite of vijja. Vijja refers to knowledge. So knowledge gives the true information. And here avijja cover the true nature of the things, and it shows another way, in wrong way. That is the work of avijja. Then, in the Siddhanta method, by the power of avijja, or the mental fetters of moha, delusion, the beings cannot know about the Four Noble Truths correctly. So it is understood as the non-knowledge of the Four Noble Truths. This is a Siddhanta explanation. But in the Abhidhamma method, the ignorance have more range to explain about that. The meaning of ignorance, it brings the 8 things, not knowing correctly about 8 things. So the 1, 2, 4 saying the Four Noble Truths, and the extra one in the extra petals covered by the avijja are bring in the Abhidhamma teaching. So they are prenatal past and post-mortem past. Then past and future together. So these are Uppanta, Paranta, and Uppanta Paranta in Pali. So by the coverage of by the power of the avijja, the beings cannot know the past portion of the samsara and also the future part of the samsara. Then both together. And the last one, dependent arising. So being cannot understand in proper way under the influence of avijja about that dependent arising. So here, the system of dependent arising, Paticcasamupadda, is covered by the avijja. So as long as avijja is working, we don't understand dependent arising properly. So due to the condition, the conditioned dhamma arising. This is the system of dependent arising. But under the influence of avijja, being cannot know the true linking of the conditioning and conditional dhamma. Then due to not knowing that correctly, the attachment, etc., the unwholesome nature or defilements arise. Then it continues in the samsara. So in this case, we know avijja referring to the mental fetters of delusion, moha cetasika, and it works to cover the true nature of, according to Siddhanta, Four Noble Truths, and according to Abhidhamma method, 8 things. So this is what is avijja and how it works. Then let's continue what is sankhara. Here, sankhara being translated as volitional formation, divided into 3 parts. The first one, punya sankhara, meritorious volitional formation. So here, wholesome, meritorious, because the punya is meritorious deed, and sankhara is volitional formation. And apunya sankhara is demeritorious volitional formation, which is called akusala kirana. Then ananjabi sankhara. And here the ananjabi sankhara also actually the meritorious volitional formation, but it is immaterial stage. So very strong and stable because it connected to the immaterial jhana. That's why this is called the ananjabi sankhara, imperceptible volitional formation. So let's see what are these exactly in realities. The first one, Punyavi Sankhara, meritorious volitional formations, are counted in the ultimate realities. The volition, so here, all Sankhara reference to the volition, but the associated consciousness will be different. To regard the Punyavi Sankhara, we get only volitions associated with 13 consciousness. So 13 consciousness are 8 great wholesome citta and 5 wholesome 5 material jhana citta. So to understand this, we have to remember the classification of consciousness. So in the wholesome group, there are 21. Among the 21, and we can take out 13 great wholesome, which is called the Mahakusala, sensuous, pure wholesome. Then 5 material jhana. So altogether, 13 consciousness. The volitions, Chetana, here volition is Chetana, Cetasika, mental factors. The mental factors of volition associated with 13 consciousness are regarded as Sankhara and Punyavi Sankhara. And for second one, the volition associated with unwholesome consciousness is clear, the apunya, the meritorious or unwholesome. That's why the mental factors of volition, Chetanas, associated with 12 unwholesome citta are called apunyavi sankhara. Then ananjavi sankhara, the volition associated with the 4 immaterial wholesome jhana. So here we can see the 13 and 4, 17 mundane wholesome consciousness and 12 unwholesome consciousness. Altogether, 29. So 29 volition, 29 chetana associated with the 17 mundane wholesome lokiya kusala and 12 unwholesome akusala are regarded as the Gammit formation in the group. So here the connection between the ignorance and volitional formation. So volitional formation, 29 volitions. 29 volitions arise due to their ignorance. So people, the beings, under the influence of ignorance, they expect the life and the life in the sensual plane of existence and 5 material plane of existence. They perform the wholesome deed. Then if in that case, under the influence of avijja, or avijja is conditioning the punyavi sankhara. For apunyavi sankhara, the ignorance condition to perform the unwholesome, to give rise to the unwholesome consciousness, and the volition or chetana, mental factor or chetana associated with the 12 unwholesome. Then in the same way with the punyavi sankhara, still have the ignorance, influence of ignorance. The being develop their concentration power, practicing the wholesome jhana up to the immaterial stage. It's also conditioned by the ignorance. That's why all the conditional formation, sankharas, are conditioned by the ignorance. So this is the first thing. So for Arahant, they already removed the power of ignorance from their process. So ignorance cannot work anymore, cannot be conditioned to produce the volitional formation. That's why in the process of Arahant, only the functional consciousness. So here, the volitions or the mental factor of chetana associated with functional consciousness are not regarded as the volitional formations or sankhara. That's why for Araha, they are not developing the sankhara. That's why they don't have new rebirth at all. So this is the condition of the condition of Dhamma is volitional formation. Condition in Dhamma, Paccaya Dhamma, is avijja. So this is the connection of these two former two parts. Then here, avijja paccaya sankhara, to understand that the living being is imbued with ignorance. So ignorance overwhelmed according to the nature, covering the Four Noble Truths or 8 things. Then the volitional activities of the beings generate the karma. So here, they are considered as unwholesome or mundane wholesome are considered as karma, with the potency to produce the result in the future. So for the Arahant, because they already escape from the influence of avijja, their activities, according to the Abhidhamma, the volition, the mental factor or cetana volition is universal. Although it associates with the functional consciousness, out of the influence of avijja, the Arahant's actions are not generating any karmic potency. This is the difference. So here, the condition related to the Putrajana and Sikha. So the mental factors of volition are considered as the with the power of karma potency to generate to produce the future results. So in this case, avijja being a condition, because we say that in the introduction, the formal lesson, no single condition cannot produce a single result. So condition also come in the group and the result also come in the group. But here, the ignorance is pointed out as a chief condition to produce karmic formation. In this case, we can understand ignorance, avijja, is predominant in the unwholesome activity. When the unwholesome consciousness arises and unwholesome mental formation arises, that time, because ignorance, the mental factors of delusion, is the unwholesome universal. So it associates with all types of unwholesome. So the ignorance can be predominant, being one of the root. But in case of wholesome activity, when the wholesome consciousness arises, it contrary to the nature of unwholesome. Wholesome and unwholesome cannot arise at the same time. So the ignorance can be only in the latent tendency or in the background condition. Cannot come with the mundane consciousness when the mundane consciousness arises, because the unwholesome mental factors of delusion, moha, cannot arise with the wholesome consciousness. That's why when the mundane wholesome activity or wholesome consciousness arises, at that time, the ignorance is running in the underlying tendency of the latent tendency as a nusaya. So in this way, ignorance conditioned to the mental formation sankhara. So both mundane wholesome and unwholesome in this way, so being the predominant condition in the case of unwholesome activity, being a latent tendency of mundane wholesome activity, ignorance can be conditioned for the mental formation, which is called sankhara. So this is the link. Then, so let's continue the next link, number 2. The karmic formation is conditioned. So Paccaya Dhamma, Sankhara. Then Vijnana, consciousness, is the conditional Dhamma, Paccayupanna Dhamma. So in this case, we have to remember that 29 wholesome and unwholesome volitions are Sankhara. Then this Sankhara can give rise or can be conditioning for the Vijnana, which is regarded as the 32 kinds of resultant consciousness. Here, Vijnana consciousness. So not all consciousness is called Vijnana in this case. Here in the Paticcasamupadda, if we try to find out the ultimate reality, relevance, ultimate reality, or specific factors, so for avijja, for sankhara, for vijnana, etc., we have to understand there are two methods to give the related the realities or the reference entities, the Abhidhamma method and Suddhanta method. So for Abhidhamma method, here vijnana, because vijnana, the word vijnana usually used in the Abhidhamma for as a general term of the consciousness. That's why if we refer the ultimate reality or entities according to Abhidhamma method, there must be all types of consciousness. 89 types of consciousness must be for vijnana, that is. But in the Suddhanta method, only 32 kinds of resultant consciousness are identified for the word vijnana. So what is the difference? So in the Abhidhamma method, as we usually say, it's the complete teaching. It covered all the ultimate reality and explained in this very specific usage. In the Suddhanta, the referent entirety can be changeable according to the place or according to the sutta, the Buddha's intention or the speaker's intention. That's why in the sutta teaching, vijnana only refers to the 32 kinds of resultant consciousness. If you are not knowing what are the 32 resultant, you need to check in the chapter 1. Yeah. So here, why the Suddhanta narrow down or the entities, specific entities. In the Suddhanta method, it just mentioned how the round or rebirth is continuing. That's why Suddhanta method, in the Suddhanta method, the referent entities are narrowed down, not cover all the meaning. So we have to remember, according to the Suddhanta method, 32 kinds of resultant consciousness are represented by the word vijnana. But if we take up the entities according to the Abhidhamma method, the 89 consciousness will be. So here, in this lesson, I will continuously explain about the Suddhanta method, according to the Suddhanta method. So the referent entities for a specific factor will be in the Suddhanta method. Okay, so 29 wholesome and unwholesome volition, those are called sankhara or karmic formations. They condition to their 32 kinds of resultant consciousness. Let's see how they produce. Here, have to remember the sankhara, 32 kinds of resultant consciousness, and the vijnana refers to the 32 kinds of resultant consciousness. And we have to divide it two parts. The one, patisandhi kala, at the moment of conception, the first moment, very first moment of the life is called patisandhi. At that moment, the karmic formation, sankhara, generate one of the 19 types of rebirth consciousness. So if we conclude the first movement, is there we get only the 90 types of rebirth consciousness. Resultant, all are resultant consciousness. So at the moment of Paticcasamupadda, among the 32 vinyana, only 19 types of rebirth consciousness are considered as a vinyana. So the potency of karmic formation, the sankhara, can produce any of, according to the realm of existence where the beings born. So for the apaya, it will be only the apaya Paticcasamupadda, which is called the akusala vipaka, ubhikkhasagata santirana, akusala vipaka, apaya Paticcasamupadda only. But for the human, it can be different. But in one type, only one type of 19 consciousness, 19 rebirth consciousness can be produced by the karmic formation in the specific life of realm of existence. Then, in this case, the karmic formation which generates the Paticcasamupadda is considered as the sankhara. Due to the sankhara, the Paticcasamupadda arise. This is the link of the sankhara and vinyana at the moment of Paticcasamupadda. So when the wholesome karmic formation of five material sphere produce the rebirth consciousness of Brahma, so specific karmic formation and specific rebirth can be connected. This is the link of sankhara paccaya vinyana. And after the Paticcasamupadda movement, that is called the Paticcasamupadda. So Paticcasamupadda during the course of existence. There, the karma, the accumulated karma in the past, these are called the karmic formation. This karmic formation can generate other resultant types of consciousness according to the circumstance. So in the Paticcasamupadda, during the course of existence, the wider types of the resultant consciousness can be produced by the accumulated karma or sankhara. So we have to understand, in this case, in the link of the sankhara paccaya vinyana. So sankhara, 29, any of the volition, 29 volition, will produce any of the 32 kinds of resultant. This is general meaning. So if we specify by the Paticcasamupadda and Paticcasamupadda, in the Paticcasamupadda, the specific karmic formation can produce only the specific rebirth consciousness. Then for the Paticcasamupadda, the different types of karma can generate and different types of the resultant consciousness. So we have to keep in mind the information of what are the resultant consciousness can arise during the course of existence, what are the resultant consciousness that can arise at the moment of rebirth. So Paticcasamupadda. So if you understand, you can connect the link of sankhara and vinyana. So this is the second link. Then for the third link, so that's the vinyana paccaya nama rupa. So vinyana paccaya nama rupa. In the step two means sankhara paccaya vinyana. So there, vinyana is produced by sankhara or conditioned by sankhara. That's why vinyana is paccayupanna dhamma. So vinyana paccayupanna vinyana in step two. There, step two cover 32 kinds of resultant consciousness. But in step three, vinyana paccaya nama rupan. Here, vinyana is paccaya vinyana because it is conditioned to produce the mind and matter. Here, in this case, we have to understand two types of vinyana. Paccayupanna vinyana, referring to the step two, which is produced by the sankhara. And for the step three, vinyana paccaya nama rupan, there's a nama here, vinyana is paccaya vinyana. So in case of step 3, Paccaya Vijnana, not only 32 kinds of resultant consciousness, the karmic consciousness. So karmic consciousness referring to the 29 consciousness. 17 mundane wholesome and 12 unwholesome are regarded as the karmic consciousness. So these karmic consciousness are also, so those arise in the previous life, are also considered as under the name of Vijnana. So in the step 3, being the Paccaya Vijnana, Vijnana has their more realities to cover. But still, they are under the name of Vijnana because Vijnana can cover all types of consciousness according to their Abhidhamma method. So here, in case of step 2, Paccaya Vijnana, Sankhara, that is why Vijnana in step 2 is identified by 32 kinds of resultant consciousness only. But in the step 3, Vijnana Paccaya Namarupa, there the karmic consciousness also can be Paccaya because they can be conditioned for the Namarupa. That is why in the step 3 of the Paccaya Vijnana, karmic consciousness are also included, but it is not in this life, the previous life. So the 29 consciousness in previous life and the resultant consciousness in this life, the present life, are considered as the Vijnana in the Vijnana Paccaya Namarupa. And here, the Namarupa, because the Vijnana consciousness conditioned to the Namarupa to arise and to continue. Here, Nama, in the Abhidhamma method, you understand Nama, mind refers to 89 consciousness, and Rupa refers to 28 materiality. But in this case, mind, Nama, is identified as their Chittasika, the mental fetters. So mental fetter associated with resultant consciousness. Associated with resultant consciousness. That is the referent entities of their Nama in this case. Then here Rupa refers as the Kamacha Rupa. Their materialities are born of Karma or produced by Karma. The other Chittacha, or produced by mind or produced by temperature and produced by nutriment, are not counted here in this link. So as a Nama, as a Rupa. So here mind, but not consciousness. Here mental fetters. And materiality, Kamacha Rupa. Why we can identify or we can narrow down the entities for the mind and matter, because only these are produced by the Vijnana. Yeah, Vijnana, 32 kinds of resultant consciousness, can be conditioned for the arising of associated mental fetters. That's why when they arise together, 32 kinds of resultant consciousness and mental fetters, the Vijnana can be conditioned for the mental fetter. In this way, the Vijnana produce mind. And also, here the karmic consciousness, when they arise, when they can be the condition for the arising of the Kamacha Rupa at the moment of descending. And also the Kamacha Rupa are generated in the every moment of the life. That's why they are, we can understand the link of the 32 kinds of resultant karmic consciousness and their conditional realities of mind and matter. So have to remember, mind is identifying the mental factors, associated with the resultant consciousness. Here, the mental factor associated with the other consciousness are also not considered as the mind or nama in this case, because we are searching the conditional dhamma, paccaya dhamma, and their conditional dhamma, paccayoppanna dhamma. So according to the nature, the process is explained in this way: cause and effect, or the condition and their conditional realities, paccaya and paccayoppanna dhamma in Pali. So vijnana condition to the mind and matter. Only this mind and matter, not referring to the others. Then, okay, see the vijnana paccaya namarupan again. And also, vijnana, remember the 32 resultants and the karmic consciousness. So how they give rise their conditional reality or paccayoppanna dhamma, which is called the namarupa, in the different types of existence. Here, the panchavokara bhava, there are 26 realm of existence are regarded as panchavokara bhava because they have the 5 aggregates. A being in their realms, in this realm of existence, belong to 5 aggregates. That's why panchavokara bhava, there are 26 in number. The consciousness here, vijnana, condition both mind and matter, because the beings consist of the mental process and material process at the same time in this realm of existence. Then for the second type, chattuvokara bhava, referring to the immaterial realm of existence, there are 4 immaterial realm of existence. There, the beings belong to only one process or mentality, no materiality at all. That's why in that realm of existence, the consciousness, the paccaya dhamma, produce the paccayoppanna dhamma as only mind. This means the only associated mental factors, not materiality at all. Then for the ekavakara bhava, in the realm of non-percipious being. So as you know, non-percipious being referring to the asanya satta brahma, they belong to only one aggregate of the materiality. That is why in the realm of existence, the consciousness, the paccaya dhamma can condition for it is paccayoppanna dhamma, matter only, not mind at all. So this is how vijnana condition to nama rupa according to the realm of existence. Okay, so for the number 4 links, the nama rupa paccaya salayatana. So mind and matter condition to the 6 things base, salayatana. Here sa is cha, come from cha, so 6. And ayatana, 6 space, we already studied about the ayatana, 6 internal and 6 external. So here, referring to the internal basis. So first 5 space are called eye base, ear base, nose base, tongue base, and body base. They are considered as according to ultimate reality, sensitive matter. So 5 sensitivities. And for the 6th one, the last one, mind-based. But actually, if we classify according to Abhidhamma, it covers 89 types of consciousness. But in this Sutta method classification, the mind-based refers to only 32 kinds of resultant consciousness. So this is the referred entirety for the 6 things. But we don't need to repeat the mind and matter already mentioned and the same in this case also the nama rupa and step 3 nama rupa the same. So here the karma born material phenomena, which is called kamacha rupa, arise. Then this is the as a production of the Vijnana Pachaya Nama Rupa. So there, Nama Rupa, Rupa arises the Kamacha Rupa. When it arises, then it can be conditioned for the arising of 5 sense organs. So 5 sense organs, ear, eye, ears, nose, tongue, and body. 5 sensitivity matter. They are also Kamacha Rupa. That's why when we say the Kamacha Rupa, the Rupa conditioned by the Vijnana. So Vijnana Pachaya Nama Rupa, right there, Rupa is here. Then, so it can be conditioned to produce the 5 sense organ. In this way, the Nama Rupa, there, Rupa produce the Rupa, another Rupa. This is called the, in the other name, which is called the Ayatana. So 5 of the 6 Ayatana. Then for the Nama, so Nama in step 3, we already identified as the Chittasika, mental factor associated with the resultant consciousness. So here, mind-based is resultant consciousness. It means that when the mental factors arise, the mental factors can be conditioned for the consciousness itself. In case of Vijnana Pachaya Nama Rupa, Vijnana, the resultant consciousness are conditioned as considered as the condition. The mental factors are considered as the conditioned dhamma, patyupanna dhamma. But in the number 4 stage of the Nama Rupa Pachaya Salayatana, so Nama, being the mental factors, can be conditioned for the resultant consciousness. So it means in this case, they are considered as the mutual condition. So they support each other when they arise together. They support or they condition each other by the power of the Anyamanya Pachaya. In the Patana method, it was explained as a Anyamanya Pachaya. So the resultant consciousness is the consciousness. The Vijnana produce the mind, which is called the mental factors. In the same way, now mind mental factors produce the resultant consciousness in the name of the mind base. So you don't need to confuse. And if you take off the specific terms and identifying the consciousness, then although the consciousness are the same, the entities are the same in the number and name. But we can understand the former Vijnana as a condition for the Nama Rupa. And the mind-based, the 32 resultant consciousness, we can consider as a conditional Dhamma of the Nama Rupa, like this. So this is the link. Then, according to the plane of existence, here, in the mind and means, which is called the Panchavakara power, Panchavakara realm of existence, belong to the 2 process, all 5 aggregates. In 26 realm of existence, all 6 things space, like human beings and Deva, 6 things space are produced by their Namarupa. And in the 5 material plane of existence, because they don't have their nose, tongue, and body sensitivity. That's why only ear sensitivity, eye sensitivity, ear sensitivity, and mind basis are produced by the Namarupa, their condition. And in case of immaterial plane of existence, only mind base is produced or conditioned by the Namarupa. So this also can be understood if you already understand what are the absent in the specific realm of existence. Not difficult. So in this case, you just need to emphasize the referent entities of the specific term in the specific link. Okay, so this is the number 4 step. And for number 5 step, Salayatana Pajaya Paso. So 6 things way, same as before, and condition for the contact, Passa. So here, Passa, that's Passa in the Abhidhamma. When we study in the chapter 2, we understand Passa is one of the universal mental factors like Jitana or Vedana. Then it can associate with the all types of consciousness. But in this case, in this specific term, Passa, Salayatana Pajaya Passo, this Passa referring to the context associated with resultant consciousness only, resultant consciousness. So let's see the meaning of the Passa, what is mean exactly. And Passa, in the other hand, is explained as the coming together, Sangati, by the word Sangati. Or coming together of what? Here, the consciousness and mental factors, and with the objects and 6 sympathies. So as we have explained, the eye sensitivity as a base and visible form as an object coming together at the present moment give rise to consciousness, eye consciousness. These 3 coming together of these 3 ultimate reality are called the contact. So in this explanation, the context, Passa referring to the coming together of Sangati in this case. Then, so this Passa contact can be classified into 6 types. So based upon the eye base, so depending on eye base, when the Passa arises, it is called the eye context. So eye context. So eye context regards as the coming together Sangati of the eye, visible form, and eye consciousness. So in the same way, depends on the other respective sense spaces, the ear context, and also the nose contact, tongue context, body context, and mind context are produced. So for the mind context, as we have said, the mind base as the only 32 resultant consciousness. Here, mind contact also considered as the 22 kinds of contact associated with the 22 kinds of resultant, because they are among the 32, 10 consciousness of the Vipanja Vijnana, which is translated as the 2 sets of 5-fold sense consciousness, are already counted as the eye contact, ear contact, etc. So 10 already counted. If we substitute these counted 10 contacts, only remaining contacts of 22 are regarded as mind contacts. Okay, so altogether, we can say there are contact associated with the 32 resultant consciousness. Because here, the former 5 belong to 10 consciousness, and the last one covered 22. So altogether, the contact associated with 32 consciousness are called Passa, Salayatana Pajaya Passa. That Passa is produced by the 6 sense space. Without 6 sense space, the contact cannot arise, cannot be at present. That's why contact, 6 types of contacts are produced by the Salayatana, 6 sense spaces. Okay, so in every realm of existence, only when the 6 sense space exists, the contact can arise. You can see that in the Brahma realms, because the the nose base, tongue base, and body base absent. That's why the context of the nose contact, tongue contact, and body context cannot be arising in the Brahma realms. So in this way, we can understand context is conditional by the sensing space. Then, okay, let's see to make clear the clear understanding about the process here. I, visible form, I consciousness, they coming together of these three things is considered as the contact. That is called contact. So when the contact comes, the contact, conditioned by the contact, the feeling arises. So the feelings also given the name according to the contact. That's why here, based upon the eye consciousness, is right the eye contact. Then, based upon the eye contact, the feeling arises, it is called the feeling born of eye contact. In Pali, it is called the eye sensitivity or eye base. Eye base is called the Chakkayatana. Then here contact is called the Chakku Sampasa. After that, the feeling Vedana is named as the Chakku Sampasaja Vedana. So when you read Sutta, and you will see these usages. So Chakkayatana, Chakku Sampasa, and Chakku Sampasaja Vedana. In the same way, Sotayatana, eye basis, ear basis, and Sota Sampasaja Vedana, ear contact. The Sota Sampasa, ear contact, and Sota Sampasaja Vedana, feeling born of ear contact. In the same way, the others are nose as the Ghanayatana. So here, Ghanayatana, because the sixth ayatana. Then, when it comes to the contact, it is called the Ghana Sampasa. Then, Ghana Sampasaja Vedana, feeling. Then, Jinwa Yatana, Jinwa Sampasa, and Jinwa Sampasaja Vedana. And Kaya Yatana, Kaya Sampasa, and Kaya Sampasaja Vedana. Then here, the Manayatana. So the mind basis. Mind basis here, Manayatana, Mano Sampasaja Vedana. The consciousness is mind. Here, the mind basis is considered as the associated mental fetters, and their Manosampasa is mind context. After that, they are Manosampasaja Vedana. So in this way, the 6 types of feeling are counted according to the Sutta explanation of the dependent origination. So in the Sutta, this enumeration appear many times. Okay, so mind base you can check in this step 4. Then let's continue to the another link of the Phassa Paccaya Vedana. So dependent on that, the feeling arises. Phassa Paccaya Vedana. Phassa is Paccaya and Vedana is Paccayupanna Dhamma, conditional Dhamma. So in this case, like consciousness and mental fetter arise together, the mental fetters of feeling and mental fetter of phassa are arising together simultaneously. Although the feeling is conditioned by their contact, but they arise together in the same consciousness. So when the eye consciousness arises, eye contact and also feeling born of eye contact arise together. And Paccaya and Paccayupanna Dhamma can be arising together at the same moment. So here, contact the encounter of consciousness with the object. When it arises, contact arises, it accompanied by the feeling. So that feeling is produced by the contact. That's why the feeling is given the name, like their feeling produced by which contact like this. Okay, so this is how they arise, and they being arising together, the contact produce their feeling. And this class already mentioned in the former table, so eye contact, ear contact, etc. That's why the feeling also named as the feeling born of the specific types of the phassa. So Chakku Samphassa Javirana, Sota Samphassa Javirana, etc. Then in other cases, the feeling can be classified into three types, the pleasant, painful, and neutral. So eye contact, but for the eye contact is only neutral. But eye, ear, nose, tongue, all are neutral because they are ubekha sahagata. You can check in the chapter 1. But for body contact is produced that the pleasant or feeling according to the neutral or the pleasant or unpleasant. Okay, so this is number 6 link. Then, so for this, as a conclusion of the part 1, talking about the Paticcasamupadda Naya, and we can make conclusion in this way: ignorance, mental fetters or delusion, moha, and it produces the sankhara. 3 types of sankhara can be concluded as the 29 volitions associated with the 17 mundane wholesome and 12 unwholesome chitta. So only the volition, chitana, is considered as the mental formation, sankhara. And consciousness can be in 2 classes. So when karmic formation produce the consciousness, sankhara pacaya vijnana, in this case, being pachayupanna dhamma, which is called the conditional dhamma of the karmic formation, the consciousness referring to only 32 kinds of resultant consciousness. But in case of vijnana pacaya nama rupan, to produce the mind and matter, the karmic consciousness of the previous life are also included under the referent entities of the vijnana. So vijnana pacaya nama rupa. And then in the other stages, the reference entities are always the same. Yeah, the nama rupa, nama referring to only the mental fetters associated with the resulting consciousness, and the matter rupa, materiality produced by the kamacha rupa only. Then the mental mind and matter to this salayatana, because they are the former 6 sensitive matter are under the classification of the kamacha rupa. Then the associated mental factor condition for the 32 kinds of resultant consciousness. That's why here mind-based refers to the consciousness. Then contact phassa. Phassa contact is associated with the resultant consciousness. When the mind-based as a the consciousness of the resultant consciousness arise as a mind-based, the associated phassa context also produce. Then six kinds are mentioned in the under the name of the contact phassa. Then with the arising of contact, the contact condition for the vedana, and that's why they are vedana also classified into 6 types according to their conditioning phassa. Okay, this is the first part of the Paticcasamupadda. So in the next week lesson, we can finish the Paticcasamupadda. And you need to check the former information in the former lesson, in lesson 53. And there, in the second part, I explain some information about the Paticcasamupadda in order to complete understanding, as mentioned in the chapter 8 of Abhidhamma Sangaha. You need to check how three period or like this, and 20 factors, or like in this way. And you have to complete the whole information to combine. But we will not repeat it in the next lesson, and we will emphasize the remaining part of the Paticcasamupadda. After that, we will continue to the Vipassana. Okay, so I'm going to stop here my explanation today. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Bante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bante, we will first read the questions sent in by participants and then take questions from the floor or the chat. Please allow me to share my screen.
Okay, please continue, Brother Johan.
The first question 1. Dear Sayadaw, about Avijja Paccaya Sankhara, this means that firstly we have ignorance, then we commit the volitional activities. For example, in many cases, we may do offering first, which is the volitional activity, and then we make an aspiration to become a deva or a human in a future life, which is the ignorance. In this case, Sankhara first, then Avijja. How do we understand Avijja Paccaya Sankhara in such a situation? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
In this question, here it seems that according to this consideration, the ignorance and volitional activity come in different time period. For the question first, that actually avijja, as long as they are not removed or eradicated by the Magga, they arise in the different level. Sometimes come into surface and sometimes become stronger. Sometimes in their underlying tendency, being underlying tendency, avijja, the position of avijja is there, and not firstly arise and produce. So it means the condition does not mean the first arise. Here, condition means to give rise or to support for the existence. This is condition. That's why the power of avijja, we can understand only the power of avijja, not the first arise or later arise. So in the case of example, actually, due to the underlying tendency of avijja, the volitional activity is done. If we say that, why you make the offering? The reason, still avijja is there. It's considered as sankhara. For arahat, sometimes the Brahmana Sariputta offered to his requisites, his bowl or a rope to the Brahmana Ananda. That is, at the moment, as Brahmana Sariputta is already arahat, the action or the volition that arises at the moment of donation done by the Brahmana Sariputta is not considered as the volitional formation or sankhara, because avijja is already eradicated. But in some case, the Brahmana Ananda offer ropes to the Brahmana Sariputta. As at the time, Brahmana Ananda is only the Sotapanna, still have the ignorance. That's why the action and also the volition that arise at the moment of offerings done by the Brahmana Ananda That pollution are considered as the volitional formation, which is called the sankhara. It can produce at this. As long as avijja is not eradicated, it can be conditioned for the arising of sankhara. That's why not only at the moment of making aspiration, sankhara does mean for the pupa chirana, muncha chirana, and apra chirana. It means there are 3 periods of time in relation to any action. As long as avijja is not eradicated, all these volitional actions are considered as the sankhara. That's why the avijja does not rise fast, and also according to the example, the sankhara does not rise fast. So avijja being underlying tendency, or sometimes in case of unwholesome being a prominent factors, condition to the arising of sankhara. Sankhara, this is the first thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. The next question. Dear Sayadaw, can we understand the avijja as the latent defilement that influence our lives through rebirth cycle? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yes, we can understand. But sometimes not only the latent tendency, when unwholesome mental formation, unwholesome volitional formation arise, akusala karma arise, at that time it becomes to the priyuthana or vitikama level of the defilements. So latent defilement is only the underlying level, very deep level. But sometimes when unwholesome consciousness arises, it comes to the stronger stages, stronger level. That's why we can understand in this way. Sometimes the latent defilement and sometimes come into the surface, but it influences our lives there through the rebirth cycle, of course.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Go to the next question. Dear Sayadaw, in Sankara, Venerable mentioned that the wholesome volitions are also influenced by avijja. What then does the jnana sampayutta refers to? Isn't the jnana supposed to be part of knowledge and wisdom? Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yeah, right. The jnana, in case of jnana sampayutta, also in case of the wholesome activity or wholesome consciousness arise there, because they contrary to the unwholesome nature of avijja. The unwholesome nature of unwholesome mental factors or avijja cannot come to join as a prominent factors, and it, as I said, the underlying, it can influence or it can be conditioned from the underlying level. So although jnana sampayutta also not escape from the influence of that, because all the latent tendency of the underlying background stage can be eradicated only the moment of mega. So when the mega attain, according to the level, it cut off the different types of the sayojana and defilement, but still avijja continue as long as arahata mega is attained in the latent level. That's why jnana sampayutta kusala also cannot be given from the conditioning of the avijja. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next question. Dear Sayadaw, we learned that ignorance is latent in mundane wholesome activities as anusaya. However, we learned that there are only 4 ultimate realities: matter, consciousness, mental factors, and nibbana. So where or how does ignorance or other anusaya fit into the 4 ultimate realities? Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, this is still ignorance of anusaya. That is considered as the ultimate reality of the mental factors. as the mental fetters or delusion. So avijja and delusion, moha, same. But it is similar to the like a watermark, the background, the watermark of the paper. So it is not similar to the level of the ink we have written in the surface level, but it still is as a background. And so it is not mixed up with the wholesome consciousness. Those come to appear in the surface level, but still the avijja is at the underlying layer. So they are not missing each other because they have the different nature. Wholesome and unwholesome cannot mix at the same time, cannot arise at the same time. But for the latent level, the underlying tendency can be as a background of the wholesome also. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next question. Dear Sayadaw, independent arising second link, Bhavati Kala, the term other resultant refers to balance of 13 or 31 types of resultant, the balance from 32. And the second part, why is it not all the 32 resultants? Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, all the 32s. So we can identify the resultant consciousness can appear as a patisandhi or patisandhi consciousness at the moment of patisandhi, and the resultant consciousness can be poetic vipaka, which is called the resultant during the course of life, 40 times. So all the resultants produced by the karmic formation during the course of existence are considered as the other resultants. So if we conclude for all beings and for all cases, so we can conclude as 32. So the resultant consciousness sometimes can be patisandhi moment. So it is called patisandhi. After that, also it can repeat during the course of existence also in performing the other function, not the patisandhi function. So the bhavanga function and then the other in the process of the seeing, hearing, etc. And then there are some function, the resultant consciousness, like a tadaramana or like this. They are called the other resultants. It means except the patisandhi. Yeah. But according to the types, all 32 types can be covered.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next question. Dear Sayadaw, please could you re-explain the salayatana at dependent arising fourth link and dependent arising fifth link? And second part, do these two salayatanas refer to the different resultant chitta cetasikas? Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so let me share the screen so to explain again. So same, the mind, nama rupa, in this case, the nama rupa, here, Vijnana Pacaya nama rupa also, nama rupa referring to the nama is Chittasika, mental fetter associated with the resultant consciousness. So nama refer to Chittasika here. But The same way, yeah, being the condition of the sixth sense base, nama is there. So nama produce the salayatana. Their salayatana, one of the base, mind base is consciousness. Which consciousness means that the consciousness associated with the nama. So nama is Chittasika. So nama, Chittasika, and mind-based consciousness. So here the mind-based is produced by the nama there in their number 3 stages. Also here the condition that the mind is manifest and the mind-based is their consciousness. Then if we continue for the stage 5, the same here, the context, mind context. So the mind context does not refer to the others manifestas, only emphasize in the context. The manifestas are context only. And the associated consciousness are 32, because in this case, we are emphasizing according to the process of the dependent arising, how they arise. So the condition and their conditional realities are connected, closely connected, not generally. Here, they're specifically connected. That's why the usage referring to the same, the ultimate reality, a consciousness and manifests and like this. So only the mind, the nama, translated as the mind, that refer to the all manifesta associated with consciousness. So the other, the consciousness, the vijnana, and also mind-based under the salayatana, they are referring to their consciousness, is the resultant consciousness. But here, although it is called the mind-based, but actually the mind context, the context is the important one. So we can say the 32 contexts. Okay, so put it aside the following parts. If we say that 32 contexts, in this case, produced by the 6 bases, so not confusion. Then 32 context produced the 32 feeling. Okay, so not considering about that consciousness, because the name of consciousness making many times repetition come to confusion. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Please allow me to share my screen. Okay. So the next question. Vandami Sayadaw, Suki Hotu, good evening. Please, Sayadaw, can you please advise how to understand this sentence? Chitta blinded by avijja. Is it true? Sayadaw, thank you very much. With sincerely, Jnana Dharika, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Also, you can say because of ignorance, avijja has the nature to cover the understanding or the knowledge. That's why the blinded. So chitta, not only chitta, the associated manifesta are also blinded by the avijja. Yes.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so these are all the questions that we have received so far. Dear brothers and sisters, are there any more questions? Yeah, Bhante, since there are no other questions, Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bhante, thank you very much for your teachings today. May we invite Bhante to lead us in making aspirations and sharing of merits.
Okay, so let's make aspiration and let's share our marriage to all beings. Please repeat after me. Imina punya kamena.
Imina punya kamena.
Mami bala samagamo.
Mami bala samagamo.
Satam samagamo hodu.
Satam samagamo hotu.
Yawa nibbana padiyam.
Ava nibbana patiya.
Idami punyam.
Idam me punyam.
Asavakaya vahang hodu.
Asava kaya vahang hotu.
Idami punyam.
Idam me punyam.
Nibbana sapajayo hodu.
Nibbana sapachayo hotu.
Mama punya bhagam.
Mama punya bhagam.
Sabba satanam bhajemi.
Sabba satanam bhajemi.
Te sabbe.
Te sabbe.
Me samam.
Me samam.
Punya bhagam labandu.
Punya bhagam labantu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bhante, and everyone for your time and participation. Till we meet again for the next lesson, may all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.